Terry, you've already used up all your lines before the show even started.
Damn it!
It's my jam.
This is my hip hop. Get your fat whore head out of the way, Terry.
Is that the Spanish version you're saying?
Yes. You cannot lean forward and take away from my something or other. Okay. Welcome to Big Words I Know by Heart, a program of rants, raves, faves, pet peeves, personal vendettas, celebrity interviews, and anything else we can fill the half hour with. My guest today is the creator, director, and writer for the anthology horror series Tales of Darkened Light on the YouTubes, which won 2 Western New York F.A.M.E Awards for Best Western New York Short Film and Best Actor, as well as an honorable mention Best Actor in a Short at the Buffalo Niagara Film Festival. He's also written and directed the films On the Level and Free Fallers, and he's currently in full swing on Season 3 of Tales of Darkened Light, as well as Turn Up the Night, a feature film about the rise and fall of an 80s hair metal band. I am pleased to welcome writer, director, and actor Rick Masi. Rick,
yeah. Woo!
Returning to the co-host hot seat is sawdust cineophile Terry Kimmel.
Well, howdy.
Welcome, gentlemen. Rick, I had not to gush too much, but I would just like to say, we talked about this a little bit beforehand. Tales of Darkened Light, the cinematography, the sound editing, the lighting, the dialogue, everything about it is among the best that I've seen in Buffalo filmmaking.
Thank you.
It is I rated it a must-watch for those of you streaming at home.
But you left out the best thing.
Which is?
He was responsible for all of those.
He is responsible. I covered that in the intro. I did cover that in the intro. You should have been paying attention.
Who are you? You're nasty.
You know this. Are you ready for your questions?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, how many seasons do you envision working on Tales of Darkened Light? Has it developed a rabid cult following for embracing a style and storytelling format that hasn't been seen in quite some time? And would you accept a big payday for a Turner Vision colorization of the series?
No colorization. I think after like a couple episodes that we've done, I want to keep it exactly the way it is. But I've got probably at least 40 stories outlined.
Still?
So, yeah, still for it. So the goal is I've been trying to do at least 4 to 5 a year, if I can. Mm-hmm. Going into next year, it's going to be a little tough because we want to do Turn Up the Night as well. But I think I want to, if nothing else, I want to eventually maybe make a book of short stories about it too, because at least that way I can get the stories out, and then at my own pace over the next couple of years.
Do a merchandising spin-off.
Exactly.
As well. Do you see lunch boxes down the road?
Oh yeah, lunch boxes.
I don't know why I'm doing this.
T-shirts, backpacks.
Production value.
Yeah.
Production value?
Trying to get that KISS money.
Are you obsessive when it comes to sound editing or rigorous in general with your post-production?
I would say rigorous because there's too many times that I've watched, short films or, even some bigger productions where the sound is like there's something completely off.
I fucked something up. Keep going.
What?
I'm sorry.
It's like, oh my God. Are you playing Dig Dug?
Yes.
But there's, something completely off with the sound and it'll just take you right out of it.
Okay.
So real early on, I was like, you know what? I don't want, especially with a story with 2 people just talking to each other for 25 minutes, I don't want something sound related to take somebody out of it. And they'd be like, nah, the hell with this.
Yeah, and unfortunately...
Like, for example, somebody monkey fucking around with the timer for the show.
Oh, monkey fuck.
Monkey fucking. Yes, that's a term. I have failed again. You've been described, Mr. Masi, as the not John Renna of Buffalo filmmaking. How do you feel about that moniker?
I don't know what that means. I like John.
John's a good man. He was on in January.
You weigh less, I think. That's the first thing that popped in my mind. You're shorter. He's a big dude.
That's going very negative, Terry. He is a big dude.
Yeah, that's a physical description thing. That's all
you're speaking of his stature.
John. I invested money in one of his films. I like the dude. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's very talented.
Let's get away from your responses, Terry. Rick, who would win in a Highlander-style uncircumcised sword fight? Endless Mike or Magic Mike?
Endless Mike.
Mm-hmm. He goes the distance?
Oh, yeah. endless money goes the distance.
And also, Buffablog described your first film, On the Level, as quote-unquote chock full of talent. Chalk. They spelled it chalk. C-H-A-L-K. Are we talking about sidewalk chalk or Tums grade chalk? And did you carry that experience directly over to writing your making a film mockumentary, Free Fallers?
Yes, I carried all that chalk with me. That big sidewalk kind of, you really got to go like that for. Yeah, the Free Fallers came about because it was basically, On the Level was my first real kind of deep dive into making a film, and tons and tons of like rookie noob mistakes that I was like, you know what? Like all of this funny stuff that happened, I go, this would make just perfect movie. You know, not charging the batteries, filming somebody but not letting them, like that literally like happened. We were filming somebody and we're like, hey, the batteries died, don't let them know. Don't let them know. Just let them keep going. Just keep going. So stuff like that, and there was so much of that I was like, you know, we could make a whole movie about this. So that's how Free Fallers came about. And I was like, you know what? When I was growing up, I watched tons of Mel Brooks movies with my dad, and I was like, you know, I want it. It's got, if it's going to be any way this is going to be a comedy, it's got to be like that. Just kind of that real kind of witty, snappy, kind of goofball kind of.
Was there a specific sort of like thing you were parodying, other than just than a making of sort of thing? I mean, did you have a specific thing in mind?
No, like it came to me as like little short skits. It was like a big amalgamation of short skits that I wanted to combine and put this into like a movie form. I'm like, we could totally make a story about, you know, all of this that type of stuff.
With some room for improv as well, correct?
Oh, totally. I think that probably a good third of it was just improv right on the spot.
That's cool.
And you were saying before the show that Rhonda Parker stole everything she learned from you?
Yes. No.
With her screwball improv films?
No.
Would you like to throw out a plug for your YouTube channel? Because as we were saying, you put it all out there.
Yeah.
And it's all very well done.
The name of my channel is I Rock Therefore I Am. But if you type in Tales of Darkened Light, you will find all episodes, clips. I put that show in particular all out there. Because
it's a treasure trove of good content. Is it not?
Yeah, oh yeah. There you can go and you can see reenactments of famous movie scenes that I did about 5 years ago and about 40 pounds lighter. You can watch me doing city slickers. I did a couple skits with my wife on there. We were talking beforehand. Somebody mentioned to me once about the Wonder Years. Did you ever notice, like, you know, if you put the Wonder Years on mute, it's a bunch of people just, you know, staring at each other. So I was like, that's a brilliant concept. I was like, and I would always throw my wife and be like, hey, just stand there and just say these couple things. I'll take care of the rest. But, yeah, she was a real trooper with a lot of those.
Is she enthusiastic, or does she tolerate you?
Oh, she tolerates me. She totally humors me.
Okay.
We did one, too. It was called Twin Peaksicles. It was right around the time they announced that Twin Peaks was coming back.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I got to do something for this. So it's about a minute-long clip of it's just me taking, like, you know, like famous scenes or tropes from the show. Like I have a mock Red Room or whatever it is, where I'm literally like I film myself speaking backwards and replaying it forwards, so it would have that same kind of effect as in the show. And she's like I said, she just played along with it, and she's like, she just basically humors me with that whole thing. Yeah.
Is she a film buff as well, or does she torture you with rom-coms at home?
Rom-coms.
Now, Mr. Masi, after some inspiration from Kevin Smith, you spent 18 months independently researching filmmaking. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's a bit of a missed opportunity, since that would have translated into a PhD from the University of Phoenix Online?
No, I think it was time well spent. When I finally decided, like, hey, you know what, I want to do this. The whole story with that is my wife and I got married in 2012, and at the time she was a teacher in Maryland. So I picked up and I moved down there with her. I was working for First Niagara at the time, and I found a job that was kind of close, 40-minute commute each way. About 3 months in, I was like, I'm just sad. I'm depressed all the time. I'm like, I'm away from my family. I'm away from my friends. Everything that's familiar. There was nothing where we were. Like the highlight of our Saturday was going to Walmart that was around the corner. Like that's yeah.
That's no good.
Yeah. So, I got for about I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year. I was just like just a terrible, depressed person to live with, and thank God she stuck it through with me because. I was miserable, and I finally found the podcast of Kevin Smith. Mm-hmm. It was him and his buddy, and they were listening to a recording of him from 1990. He was taping himself as he was going around town on his bike, just talking about the world and stuff like that. And it was both of them listening to him, just making fun of the 1990 version of himself. And it was the first time in about a year that I laughed, and I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, this is exactly what I kind of need in this moment.
It struck a chord.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I fell down the rabbit hole of Kevin Smith, and there's tons of inspirational videos of him online, and talking about filmmaking. And I was like, what? I think that's what I want to do. Like I think I want to go down that route. Mm-hmm. And we were just close enough to where the quick stop where Clerks was filmed. It's about an hour and a half away. I was like, what? I was like, my wife's name's Jenna Marie. I'm like, let's go there. Like we'll make a day out of it. There's tons of other stuff we can do while we're there. And I went there, and it was kind of like a little pilgrimage in a sense. Uh-huh. And we got there, and it's exactly like how it is, in the movie. I was telling you before that I walked in, and there's a guy. He's got $21 scratch offs, just $5, $1. But the thing that kind of struck me was I was kind of shocked at how small it is. It looks a lot bigger, like on screen, but it's actually kind of a tiny place.
Tiny shop.
Yeah.
Terry, what are these notes over here?
Nothing.
Is there anything cohesive in that?
No, not at all. Don't look.
You've got a Wookiee on the back or some goddamn thing. Turn Up the Night. How many cans of Aquanet have you allocated for the budget? And is there any possibility for a heavy vinyl soundtrack release at the premiere?
About 20 crates we have. And that's something I want to do. I've already designed a vinyl album cover for it. So I'm like, we got to do something along those lines.
Is it going to have a man fighting a dragon with a guitar?
No. The name of the band is Boy Elroy,
which is phenomenal.
Yeah,
that's
I was just saying, like, I hope somebody out there is gonna get the reference. Mm-hmm. But the album cover is actually it's a picture of my son. He's making this really kind of mean looking face. I was like, yeah, that's metal.
And you're shooting that over the summer? Do you have a tight schedule for that?
Yeah, I would say the majority of it's going to be filmed in the second week of June, and then probably later on in the summer. We're probably not going to get to everything that we want to. There's some concert footage that we really want to take the time to focus on, because it's going to be a mix of, there's a definite plot, but there's we want to have a lot of like live concert footage, type things.
Have you found some venues? Have there been people who are agreeable to that around here?
We've found a little bit of interest. I don't want to drop any names as of yet because nothing's confirmed. But yeah, there's.
Don't give them the plugs until they.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, that's the cool thing too is that there's been a lot of interest from both the film community as well as the music community in Buffalo too. Because it's kind of highlighting the best of both worlds there.
Well, so cool.
I don't want to recommend Desiderio South, so I won't. No, they're not even. What am I talking about? Bobby Jace. Yeah. Oh my gosh, my brain really did go out the window today, Terry. Agree or disagree? Guns N' Roses pre-Buckethead was the last great rock and roll band, even though the Black Crowes, Audio Slave, and the White Stripes get honorable mention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because. Yeah, the last iconic, I think. I had 2 copies of Use Your Illusion 1 because I completely wrecked the first copy that I had.
On cassette or vinyl?
On CD, but it was the long box CD.
Yes.
So, that I got at Record Theater.
Terry, do you have an 80s hair metal favorite?
I'm not really that much into metal. My wife is. She loved Guns N' Roses.
You strike me as a Wayne Newton man.
I'm like pop stuff,
Okay.
Female pop vocalists and
like Fiona Apple.
No, like Katy Perry.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
we're not gonna. You've already ruined.
Like
just stop. Please stop talking.
And then there's a time when.
There was a time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is it true Mr. Masi, that you're working on a grindhouse revenge version of Nanook of the North with miniature Eskimo man Terry Kimmel in the titular role.
It's been kind of under wraps, but
A little love for the Nanook of the North reference.
That's very nice. Very nice.
Couldn't even hold it together. With two
Trying to get me work.
with two small children and a wife at home, do you hop out of the window like a thief in the night to work on your projects, or lie to them and tell them that you're stepping out for a pack of cigarettes?
there's a Prince quote that I like. Excuse me. It's my bed's a coffin. Dracula ain't got shit on me, because I'm a night owl. I am up all different hours of the night, and it's because full-time job, full-time dad, and then I'm trying to do this full-time as well. And family always comes first. But I make time. I make sure that I always have make time to do like the film stuff. And my wife is very cool that she kind of lets me, you go play for a little bit. So I lucked out there.
Coffee? Is coffee your secret?
Oh yeah,
You're just a high energy guy.
Oh yeah. Well, a little bit of both. I have stock in Tim Horton.
Well, I read about Rod Serling because I know he's one of your heroes, and I did not know that he used to talk to his family for hours on end, whether they responded or not. So he was a high energy, high concept guy too.
Yeah. Oh, I love that dude's writing. Like there's some of the best writing. Particularly like on the Twilight Zone is a lot of those intros and outros and stuff that he does. Like my favorite Twilight Zone episode of all time is from the first season. It's called Walking Distance. It's about a middle-aged guy who works for an advertising company. He's kind of completely like down on his luck. He wants to get away from the world, so he heads back. He's at a gas station and realizes he's a mile away from his old hometown. So he's like, you know what, I'm going to go to my hometown. And he ends up walking into the past. And he sees people and places of his past and stuff like that. And it's one of those really, it's not like a spooky or supernatural type one, but it's one of those sentimental episodes. But it's some of the best writing that I've ever seen. And there's a scene between the present version of himself and the past version of his dad. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, just like that scene, talking about that scene, make you emotional. But yeah, I suggest if you've never seen it, go watch. It's available on Netflix. Twilight Zone's available everywhere. Season 1, Walking Distance.
Okay.
Best outro too.
I wanted to read about the Twilight Zone curse too from the movie, but I just ran out of time. That was the movie too. Was that the movie where somebody died on set?
Oh yeah, Vic Morrow. Vic Morrow.
Oh,
Who directed that catastrophe?
That was Joe Dante who directed that episode.
Who's terrible?
It was
the movie.
Not Joe Dante. John Landis.
Yes.
John Landis,
That's
yes.
right. John Landis directed that one. Joe Dante directed the one with the kid who puts people out in the field.
Right.
He directed that one.
And there's, I think I read that the thing with that was that it was two kids and Vic Morrow were.
And the helicopter came down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But those kids weren't even supposed to be there working and stuff like that.
Yeah. So.
Kind of a messed up story.
Yep.
I didn't know too that Serling was born in Syracuse
That sounds right.
and buried near Rochester.
Yeah, I
Or
think,
lived and died in
and
Rochester.
I think Binghamton too. There's I don't know if this is correct, but I want to say that there's some type of either museum or memorial or something like that in Binghamton. Because there's a lot of the stories, like he'll mention Buffalo, or like there's a lot of Buffalo connections in a lot of those old episodes.
Have you made any Serling-related pilgrimages?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No.
That's on the bucket list.
Oh, that is definitely, yeah. Especially with it being so close.
Now, we are both Fincher fanatics.
Yes.
Are you more excited for Season 2 of Mindhunter, or the very real possibility that he will actually helm World War Z 2?
I just want to see him do movies again, so I'm gonna go with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still have a bad taste in my mouth from Going Girl. It was too. It seemed like he was going for broad appeal with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just love that guy's style though. Mm-hmm. Like he, I think my favorite of all of his movies is Seven, and just the atmosphere. He's just got this real kind of like super edgy, kind of swaggery, kind of like noir kind of thing going on.
There's a braggadocio to his work. You like that, Terry?
Very nice. Very nice.
That's good. Is it finally time for a big screen reboot of Bosom Buddies with an in-drag, strap-on wielding Tom Hanks cameo.
I will watch anything with Tom Hanks.
He is America's everyman.
Yes.
The strap-on, though, is played by Peter Scolari.
What has he been doing this whole time? One-man shows?
Speaking of Tom Hanks, I probably watched The Burbs about 400 times since September.
That and Dragnet, I don't get. Everyone loves those two.
Oh, I love The
don't
Burbs.
get them. I don't get the humor in them. I don't get them.
Oh.
But Punchline, on the other hand, it's an often unlooked at gem.
And
We're
I
nothing in common.
And That Thing You Do is one of the most quotable movies that I think it's one of the most underrated quotable movies of all time.
Terry, do you have?
I haven't seen any of those.
You never watch anything.
Watch
You
anything.
pile up movies
But
at home and you don't watch them.
That's correct. But Punchline, though, I've heard good things about.
It's from 1986. If you
Right,
were going
but
to
it's
see
cool
it,
because
you would have
Sally
seen it
Field's
by
in
now.
Sally Field and Tom Hanks is in it,
Yes.
but Tom Hanks wasn't as famous as her. The strange thing, people
It
were
was
saying,
a
like,
gritty
Tom Hanks
look
was the one who was sort of stealing
At the dark underbelly of 80s stand-up. Maybe. As a fellow Prince fan,
Oh yeah.
will you admit that 70% of what he put out was mediocre, but the other 30% was more material than most solo artists put out in 10 lifetimes?
Yeah, that's fair. I think everything from I'll say pre-1995 is fantastic. Everything after that, some of it was kind of musicology was great.
The Gold Experience.
The Gold Yep. But once he changed his name, I respect the fact that he more or less did what he did, and I love Prince for the fact though too is trying to maintain ownership of your art, and not selling out and
Towing the line.
yeah,
Taking a stand.
yeah, and it's unfortunate that a lot of those albums came after after that fact and stuff like that because he was doing his own thing. Unfortunately, not all of it was fantastic.
So then it seemed like he was more being flaky, and that kind of like.
Well, you know what?
He had a lot of volume.
Yeah, and
I think was the issue.
you know what? I saw Bohemian Rhapsody recently, and there was a scene. Spoilers. There was a scene in Bohemian Rhapsody where Freddie Mercury is talking about doing his solo album, and basically, he had all the best people playing with him and stuff like that, but he had nobody to kind of rein him in and tell him that sounds like shit. And I think that. Honestly, I think that was the problem with Prince. Is he controlled every single aspect of it. That there was nobody who was going to be like, you know what, maybe do another take, or maybe do this, or change that, or whatever. So I think
Yeah, you got a little sense of that from the stories that Kevin Smith was talking about when he was over there, because he's.
Oh yeah,
So those anecdotes were kind of like that.
Well, speaking of vinyl, do you have the Black Album on vinyl as a Prince collector?
No, not on vinyl. But
That was pretty cool.
You know what? I came across at a garage sale for like 25 cents. And I was like, I'm give you a slide across the table. I'm like, you don't know what you have.
One of the original pressings?
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. They
It was
didn't make too many of them.
No, it was one of those things too where after he died, I was like, you know what? I would never sell it, but I went on like Amazon and eBay just I wonder what something like that is going for, and it was like $600 at that point or something, like right after he passed away.
My gosh. Has working on the new film Turn Up the Night, has that reinvigorated your love for Slash?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And you're okay with his time spent with Michael Jackson? You think that was a paycheck or just a different speed for him?
Yeah, different speed. I think he's just one of those guys where we're like, Slash, show up here and play here. He'll be like, all right. And he'll go and do it and do his thing and do it well. I saw them at New Era, Rich Stadium. What is it called now? Ralph Wilson?
I think it's New Era.
GNR?
Yeah, when they came last year. And, watching him.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right.
Watching him perform all those old solos that I used to watch on like VHS tape of like Guns N' Roses in Tokyo or whatever it was, 1992.
Does he do any Slash's Snake Pit songs?
No. I think it wasn't at this concert, but they tried some Velvet Revolver songs recently, and it was kind of like,
No good.
just pull the plug on that.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
wife-
could see GNR now. Axl Rose makes me a little sad.
Yeah, my wife's favorite memories is seeing that Guns N' Roses Metallica at Rich
Oh,
Stadium.
yeah.
She was there for that.
So she's into hair metal, and you're into Katy Perry?
And film composers.
Some composers.
Yeah. And other
You
things.
strike me as
I
a
like
Philip
Patti
Sousa
Smith,
guy.
too.
Patti Smith?
Philip Sousa, yeah. That's
I
right.
just pulled that out of my ass.
That's right. I want to hear, actually, and also Pat Boone, In a Metal Mood. That's like one of my
Pat
favorite
Boone?
CDs. Have you ever heard that?
No.
It's something to listen to.
I feel like
It's
there's
horrifying, but it's compelling.
I feel like there is a GNR connection there. I feel like I remember hearing something about that.
Oh, here we are. Which brand SD card cost you 2 days of footage on the level, and what colorful expletives did it create?
Oh man, it was. So the backstory of this is we filmed a whole day's worth of footage for On the Level, and I had a faulty card reader. It wasn't so much the card; it was the card reader. It was like the cheapo one that when you get the whole package with the camera that they give you.
The kit?
Yeah, the kit one, and just completely wiped out a whole day's worth of footage.
Oh my
and
God.
at that point, I was living in Maryland, going back and forth trying to film in Buffalo, and I just all color from my face just.
Oh my God.
I was catatonic for about 30 minutes. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't go back and film. This is a whole day, so this is probably a good third of the movie that we just did. Like, we powerhouse that one day.
Oh my God.
You know, so I bought some software to try to recover it and stuff like that. And we got, I don't know, maybe 70% of it back. But the audio was all off. There was tons of glitches in it and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Tons of it was practically unusable. It probably
Well, how much work did it take to save that footage?
was probably maybe a 2-3 months extra amount of work to just salvage, line all the audio clips up and stuff like that. Try to get rid of as much crap in it. I was just completely like, you know, punch in the gut. I'm like, that's it. I can't go back. There's no way I'm gonna fix this. I can't go back and do it. But in the end, it ended up working out. Like we salvaged enough of it that we made it coherent enough. I mean, there was things that I'm like, I wish people would have been able to see that because it was great on camera, but you know,
Oh my God.
lesson learned.
Yeah.
I figured you want to throw like SanDisk under the bus.
I have so many SanDisk SD cards.
And your crowdfunding Turn Up the Night. The crowdfunding is still going on. Are you going through Indiegogo or is this?
Yep, it's Indiegogo, Turn Up the Night campaign number 2. Because we did one campaign, which was, we did get some donations and support from it, but we wanted to do this one a little bit longer. So it's going now. It's going for about the next month or so. The funds from it are going to be mostly going directly towards the soundtrack and all the production equipment and stuff that we're going to need in order to make it look good.
Mm-hmm. The music is solid too. That teaser music.
Isn't it? That's
it brought me back.
Yeah, that's myself and my buddy Kevin Sampson, who's in the band First Ward. We're working on the music for the movie. We were in bands ages ago, and I'm gonna.
I wondered about that. What the background so.
The vocals that you hear in the promo for it, I'm gonna botch Ed's name. I believe it's Ed Winter, a.k.a. Milton Wild of Nerds Gone Wild. That's his vocals that are playing over the top of it. And the solo that you hear is Eric Rovner. He's playing those crazy metal solos over it. And we want to bring those guys in, bring all of us into a studio and actually have like a really authentic sounding, 80s, like 80s hair band.
Yeah.
Because we put the power ballad song out there first. I was like, if you're going to do anything, put a power ballad out there.
It strikes me too that you have a genuine love for the era, and it's not a parody of 80s hair metal.
Oh yeah, I grew up on it. Man.
How old are you?
I'm gonna be 32 in a couple weeks.
Shut up.
Yeah.
So you were a baby when that was coming out.
Oh my God.
I know, but I remember just being a kid. Like my very first experience was with music like that was I remember watching on MTV the video of Guns N' Roses "November Rain," Slash walking out in that field playing a guitar solo. I was like, I want to do that. Like that looks cool. Like I want to be that guy.
Did you have the big hair back in the day?
Oh, if I let my hair grow out, oh, totally, it would look like that. So, I haven't committed to doing that for Turn Up the Night, but yeah, like Bon Jovi when it was okay to like Bon Jovi.
In Buffalo.
Yeah, in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Dokken, Slaughter, Winger,
Motley Crue.
Motley.
Any
Oh,
love for
love
that?
Motley
Poison.
Crue. Motley Crue more than Poison, but yeah, I love Poison. I've seen Motley Crue before. Aerosmith, I grew up on Aerosmith too.
I used to have one of those pleather suitcases